okay, a little bit of a difference in swinging and playing straight. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of those things, even when we're playing. Okay, so if I was a perfect metronome, that's what I would be playing, but we're not playing that. We're swinging that eighth note, and I'm almost accenting the second one. I am accenting that. Here's another great point. Here's the best fill on the planet. I mean, that is the most widely used fill in drum history, and one that works and is great and sets up the one perfectly with a couple 16th notes, an eighth note, a well-placed feel, and there you have it. It's there's nothing quite like that. So, anyway, the other thing that we're sort of doing is that we're not okay, so that straight in kind of feel. Although, sometimes if I've listened to other guys that, maybe playing some rock and roll stuff, even, Charlie Watts. I mean, Charlie Watts definitely swings the band. There's no question. But there's places where, he might be just got his own way of swinging the band, and that kind of worked for him. But all the great players, I think, from back in the day, the John Bonham, Cozy Powell, Ian Pace. I don't know the drummer's name in Foreigner. Shame on me, because I dug him. He had a nice feel. A lot of those guys just had super, super nice feels, and that's what propelled those bands. They sounded great. Not really the case today, for me, anyway. I don't hear that swing in a lot of players, But anyway, so yeah, even the hi-hat thing. Okay, so now and this is kind of talked about a lot, but let's think, what we're doing. Maybe often more melody and stuff, so I'm pumping. Mark Cohen, I can't think of the name of the song, but it's Jim Keltner. Oh, that is one of my favorite records to play along with. Excuse me, The Rainy Season. Holy, he's just such a beautiful player. The way he sets up that feel of just, no matter what he does, or no matter what people like him, are playing, Jeff Porcaro, I love Matt Chamberlain, another great player. They're playing, you might be playing something simple, but if you just take that, everything they do, Patitucci and Brian Blade, and God help me, I can't remember the piano player, his name. I think he's from New York City, and these cats were playing in the rhythm section. And I love jazz. History of jazz to me is means the world, and all facets of drumming actually. But I always admired all those dudes that just, Brian Blade comes to mind. I'm just talking about Brian, and just, how he paints a picture. I mean, he's always painting a picture, no matter, and he's listening so closely to the melody. He's not approaching his drum kit with like, as he does. He's painting the picture. No, you're not going to get away with that on your top 40 wedding gig. It's not happening. But it's great to be aware of how these different facets of playing and articulating and orchestrating come to life. There's so many good players. God, you can't even name 10 of my favorite. There's like 1,000. I mean, I love everybody. Man, you got your Fusiony, Dave Weckles and Dennis Chamber, Cats, and all those guys, and you got your Bill Stewart and Brian Blade, Gregory Hutchinson, Jeff Hamilton, and then some of the older Philly Joe, Papa Joe, Art Blakey, Max Roach, Alan Dawson, one of my old teachers, who I will never, ever be able to play like. But, yeah, I think we have to begin to really think in terms of melody, even if you're playing just a simple rock thing, or group it. Be a part of that as well, all that is swinging. You don't get to the fill and then try to play the most complicated thing on the planet and miss the one. I don't care if you're playing but you're giving it a little bit of dynamic thing, and you're thinking triplets or swinging, and you're giving it a dynamic raise, and that's what makes that fill work. So it's not always about being complicated. It's about really just making it feel good. So yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to have grown up in the Boston area, where, God, I mean, we had so many great players back in the day. Teaching, there was, like I said, Alan Dawson, Gary Chaffee, who I studied with for quite a while. Bob Galati, loved Bob. Amazing way of melodically playing. I learned a lot from him. Dick DeCenzo was another great teacher. Sweetest man on the planet. Great person. Ralph Peterson, rest in peace. Great drummer. Gene Roma, drummer for Cats. I think in Boston for quite a while, then New York City for maybe 22 years or 3 years. Great guy, great player. Um, yeah, I mean, there's just so many great players out there. To study with David Garibaldi out on the West Coast, Steve Houghton, Efren Toro, another gem, great person. So, I mean, all these things are just, I'm not saying it to, oh, wow, look at it. Yeah, no, I got something very different from each approach uh, of each of these gentlemen. And they were truly, I think that's missing today where kids with YouTube and all this, I know, I mean, it's a great way to get information out there, but there's nothing that's ever going to take the place of you going to a reputable teacher, somebody great that is out there teaching and takes his job seriously and passionate about it. When you show up to this, I mean, because it comes like a friendship after a while. There's some expectations from you to go home and get some work done, and if you love to play it, you're going to go home and get it done. And you show up, you move forward a little bit, you're learning how to read a little bit, you're learning his approach. Now, you may stay there for a year or 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know. And then you might move on to the next mentor in your life. And that's extremely important. It was for me to really be accountable. Although, even through my drumming career, I used to do a lot of shows at Symphony Hall. I think people were coming in, bringing people, promoting and contracting the hall. I played on a lot of records out of several studios. Played at cruise ships. I played in a lot of corporate function bands. I played with 70s hit group Tavares for a spell and tour. And a lot of jazz fusion stuff. But my favorite thing to do was to actually record. That to me was always the funnest, showing up. And I played with a ton of guys that I never met that are like, very well known bass players and teachers and musicians around globally and nationally and locally. So Baron Brown, Jeff Berlin, Tim Bogert, Tim Archibald, a lot of different people. And it was always an honor to do that. Although now it's not so much of a thing anymore where you're going in and, when you're not in the union, it's a whole different ball of wax. But anyway, that doesn't prevent us from trying to be the best we can on our instrument. And I just want to quickly shout out my new book, Unlocking Your Creative Potential, and downloads are available on michaelidrums.com. And I also want to thank a lot of the YouTube people out there for subscribing. I'm kind of overwhelmed at that. A couple weeks ago I had 118, I got about 3,000 now, so that's cool. I really appreciate that because just getting out there and sharing stuff is very important. Drummers are a unique group, let's just face it. There's a lot of love there. And also been playing these Funch cymbals. Tony Williams, 22. Now I like these a little bit unfinished because you're not getting a lot of. This is a Nefertiti. It's about 2,400 grams, and this one is nicely on the bottom. It's finished very clean, and this is both sides are a little more. To find them. And this is Lone Sabian. complex thin crash. This is very, 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 very nice. And again, yeah, Canopus, I can't say enough about my couple RFM kits and my Birch kits. So yeah, thank you to Canopus, and thank you so much again for checking it out. All the best.